G'day guys and welcome back to the channel. This week on Sailing Learning by Doing, well, we've got a bit of a cracker. We've got some sailing, real good sailing, upwind, bang bang, just how I like it. We stop at an amazing island called Pisang, which means banana in Indonesian, and then we go to a nice little city called Fakfak. So yeah, join us on this little adventure. Now this trip was going to be about 120 miles with a stop off in the middle at Pisang, and our departure point was from Mosul. Now if you haven't seen the last few videos we did in Mosul, go back and watch them, they were pretty cool. Anyway, of our whole planned trip down to Darwin, Australia, this was the one leg that was pretty much guaranteed to be hard upwind. It's the sort of trip that I was, well, looking forward to myself in a way, but for Marie mostly, thinking this will be the hardest leg. Now upwind sailing, well, it's quite enjoyable for short periods of time, but long periods of time no one really likes it, and it is extremely hard on the boat and the gear, well, and the crew obviously. You've got a lot of apparent wind. The faster you go, the more the wind increases its strength, and the longer the wind has been from that direction, the steeper the seas get, and you're going against these steep sharp waves. To me it sort of shows the potential of a boat, that a boat that can sail good upwind can sail good anywhere. Trade Runner sails pretty good upwind. For a short-ish cat, she's only 12 meters, to be able to do 9-10 knots without really pushing that hard, pretty good. She handles so well. Yeah, so Marie and Eli just spent the whole time in the bed basically with the nets up, and Eli slept most of the time, and Marie just thought about other places she'd much rather be. Most of the way, well, it was all upwind, but most of the way was sort of a calmish 15 knots, but 2 hours before we got to Pisang it really beefed up to over 25 knots, and you know, that's at the point where I'm like, well, we'll go just faster and we'll get done with it quicker, or shall we reef and slow down a bit and make it more comfortable? My general answer to that would be go as fast as you can and get out of this wind. Everyone's happier in a short amount of time, but that's not, well, it's not how Marie sees it. So I compromised. I put a reef in the main and put a couple of rolls on the jib, and we didn't really slow down, but we didn't go faster. So I guess that was a win-win. Check out the aerial shots of our anchorage at Pisang. This place is incredible. Not really sure why this island is called Pisang, because Pisang means banana in Indonesian, but this island is not shaped like a banana, and there were no bananas growing there. So yeah, don't know. But it is an incredibly beautiful place. We put the anchor in the middle of this big circle and then tied onto a tree on the beach, just so we could have the stern of the boat close to the beach basically. The first day we were there, it was pretty miserable weather, raining on and off, a bit cold, a bit windy, just drizzly and shitty, but after the passage we'd had, we were quite happy to play inside with Eli and just relax and have a coffee, and yeah, we didn't really do anything. And the cat, where does the cat go? Chicken, he goes here. The duck go here, I think. Yeah, there's the duck.
Duck.
Yeah, there's the duck.
Duck.
Yeah. And where's the cat go?
The cat.
There was a family living on the beach. We could see their tent through the trees and some smoke coming out of the trees. And the next morning, much better weather by the way, we went ashore and met this family. Turns out they just lived there for a few days. They're a fishing family, a couple of kids and parents. And they come out there and fish for 4 or 5 days, and then head back to the city and sell their fish. It's pretty cool to see them. They just live there so simply. They just put up a tarp basically, make a tent, get a fire going, and eat some of the fish they catch, climb coconut trees for their water, and they, you know, just bring a bit of oil, a bit of soy sauce, some rice, and that's it. They're good for a few days. And they gave us a few fish, and what they also do is dig up turtle nests. There's lots of turtle nests on that beach, and they dug up 2 of them when we were there and pulled out 400 eggs. There's about 200 eggs in each nest. Pulled out 400 eggs, which sounds a bit over the top. They gave us about 25, but There's not much in these eggs. They sort of seem really big, but you put them in a frying pan and it just turns into, it just evaporates. It's just mostly water. There's only a tiny bit left. So for example, to make an omelette, you'd need about 25 eggs. But they just eat them raw. They just peel them open and squeeze them into their mouth raw. We didn't quite go that far, but we did try a few, but yeah, it wasn't really our thing. So during the day, the parents would go out fishing for 3 or 4 hours. They'd come back, have some food, go out again, and they'd leave the 2 kids on the beach most of the time. I guess the kids would probably just get bored going fishing. So the kids would just run around the beach, or they'd swim out to us and play on the boat. And I went over to the shore with Eli and played with them a little bit. And then they had these weird little bits of, well, it looked like seeds. They were making a little puzzle out of them. So I sort of asked what they were. So they took us through the trees down to the other end of the beach, and then there was a tree there with these big seed pods, you know, like the size of a big apple. And turns out they opened them up, and there's 6 or 8 little seeds in there that all fit together perfectly in this, you know, like a Rubik's Cube sort of thing, but really organic, with organic like wavy lines and stuff, but they fit together perfectly. And when it's perfectly together, it's a little ball of wood basically, but you take them apart and it's quite tricky to find the right pieces to get back together, because they're all sort of shaped like a slice of watermelon, but they've got wavy edges and each one totally different than the next. Pretty cool. I would have loved to have a few on the boat as a, you know, as a puzzle for when people come and visit us. But unfortunately, as we're sailing to Australia, that would never pass through the officials here. They would just kick that out straight away. So unfortunately, but I really loved it. We sat there for quite a while, me and Eli, trying to figure these things out. Now, because we've got a fridge and freezer and, I don't know, luxuries on the boat, having the family over to the boat and being able to serve them some cold watermelon and cold juices and things like that out of the fridge, you know, they're pretty spectacular for them. And the little baby there sharing a plate of watermelon with Eli, that was pretty cool to see. And yeah, it was pretty cool. They, yeah, as I said, they shared with us some fish and some turtle eggs, but we also shared back and had a chat with them, and you know, just such different lives. It's just incredible. So cool to witness this sort of thing. I think we spent 3 days on Pisang, and then it was time for the final little leg to the city. It was about 30 or 40 miles, I think, and we sailed most of it until we got in between the islands, and then the wind died down. It was squally and a bit mucky weather, but it was just a nice, easy passage after the first one that, you know, Marie didn't like much. This was quite a nice passage where we 10-15 knots on the beam, easy sailing, and we got into the anchorage in a place called Fakfak. Weird name for us English speakers, but it doesn't have any relevance in their language. What the Fakfak? Ah, this is Fakfak we're in. It's Fakfak, but here they say Fakfak. What the Fakfak? Pretty cool city this actually. It's I guess, yeah, it is a city. It's pretty small, but it's pretty cool. It's all just built up on a hill, and then there's sort of rivers coming down which divide the city into blocks. And yeah, you know, it's pretty ghetto like a lot of Indonesian cities, but there's some cool cafes and a couple of supermarkets. Well, you know, supermarkets, whatever. Places that all sell the same shit. But people are super friendly here, like really, really nice. And everyone's got a smile. People come up to us. They all love Eli, obviously, but yeah, I mean, everyone in Indonesia is friendly, but here they seem especially friendly. And yeah, no one's rich, no one's really poor. Everyone's just living life. Pretty cool place. Been here before actually, but it's 3 years ago, but not much has changed. Good to see actually, it's really good to see. There was a fella called Dave, who we only met briefly because he was leaving, but he'd sailed up from Brisbane on his tiny catamaran. It's a Seawind 21, I think, but basically it's just an oversized Hobie cat. But he'd sailed up alone from Brisbane, and he was only halfway when we met him. He's going to the Philippines. Just a phone for navigation, no luxuries, just a little gas cooker, some water, and had about 20 coconuts on board, and you know, that was his drinks, catching fish along the way, and just off you go. Such a contrast to these people that, you know, just can't imagine going cruising without being at least in a 50-foot lagoon. This is just the polar opposite, and freaking fair play to him, man. He's just living his life. That old saying that I still love, go small, go now. Well, this guy was doing exactly that. Fair play and fair winds. Going to the local markets in Indonesia is something that Marie and I are really going to miss, actually. These local markets in Indonesia are just every day, all day, just normal. There are no Woodies and Coles. There are no supermarkets selling fresh produce. These markets are so good. They're just like local people selling local food. We're really going to miss this. Everything costs about $2 to $3 per kilo. Pineapples are a bit more. They're about $5 per kilo. You just walk around, pick out what you like. There's no point haggling. The prices are all the same everywhere, and you just have a chat, smile at people. Everyone loves Eli, obviously, and yeah, we're really going to miss that. I'll end the video here with these clips of this big ferry called La Boba leaving Fakfak. Now these big ships, they're owned by a government-owned company called Pelni, and they service thousands and thousands of islands throughout Indonesia. Without them, Indonesians wouldn't be able to travel because most of them can't afford air travel, and in a lot of places there are no airports. So this is a really big ship, but there's lots of even smaller ones and then smaller ones again that feed into these ports where the big one comes. And this big one will go all the way to the end of Papua and then all the way back to Jakarta, and stopping at 50 different places along the way. This ship carries 3,000 people maximum, and it was built in Germany. Got to thank all you guys who support us, be it through Patreon or PayPal or memberships on YouTube itself, or even just by, you know, thumbs up and writing a comment, maybe sharing it with your friends. Everything you can do helps us out enormously. We look forward to making these videos for as long as we can. All right, we'll see you next week.